You're tuned into OBC TV Youth. Welcome to Olive Branch Church's Youth Jam, a place where we learn more about Jesus and each other. We're so glad that you tuned in today. Are you ready to be entertained? Are you ready to be inspired? Are you ready to learn more about Jesus? Let's do it now. Welcome to Youth Church here at Olive Branch, where we learn more about Jesus and each other. We're glad you've joined us today. Let's see what's happening on the vine for our youth in the vineyard. Attention high school and college graduates in the class of 2021. We want to recognize you during our graduation Sunday celebration on Sunday, July 18th. Please submit your name, a current photo, and the name of the school or institution that you graduated from to us at obcevents@olivebranchchurch.org by no later than Wednesday, June 30th. Let's gather for some food, fun, and fellowship at our church picnic. It will be held on Saturday, July 10th at Sharp Spring Park, located at 311 Jefferson Pike, Smyrna, Tennessee, from noon until 4 p.m. Games and activities for all ages will be provided. Don't miss out on this awesome time of fun. We'll see you then. Thanks for listening. For more information about these announcements or how to become a part of the Vineyard, please email vineyard@olivebranchchurch.org or call 615-941-1268.
What it do? Welcome to OBC Youth Jam. First of all, my name is Tommy G, and I'm fired up and excited, guys. We have a lot for you guys, and I hope you're ready. But I can't wait to share today's lesson with you. But wait, before we even do that, we'll learn more about it after this song, all right? So check this out. Woo!
Have you ever eaten a jelly bean that tastes like earwax or like gym socks? Ugh, it's disgusting. The last thing I want is to bite into a jelly bean that I think is gonna taste really good, and it turns out it tastes like rotten eggs. This is what I think about when I read the story about how Jesus was confronted by all these religious leaders who were so upset that Jesus wasn't following the rules of God. These are rules that they came up with. They thought that God cared about what they ate and what they didn't eat, about how they washed themselves or how many times they prayed throughout the day. But what they weren't good at was loving other people well. You look good on the outside is what Jesus said, but on the inside you are rotten. Kind of like those jelly beans we were just talking about. God doesn't call us to act well behaved. God calls us to make the wrong things right in a broken world like He came to do. God calls us to do justice.
Justice, Savior to all, came to rescue the weak and the poor, chose to serve and not be served. Jesus, you have called us. The broken, we must go. just singing, move us into action. We must go. Hey.
Woo! Yes, we're back, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to OBC Youth Jam, yo. My name is Tommy G, and I'm fired up and excited, guys. We have an amazing thing happening today, yo. We're excited. I'm excited because we're in week 3 right now, okay? And I know we're talking about Back to the Future, and we're talking about how traveling between the past and the present can actually help change the future. That's what we're talking about today, okay? And so just to recap a little bit, the first week, we talked about Jesus' mission to set his people free, right? Right? That was really cool. And then in week 2, we talked about how Jesus can rebuild what has been destroyed. Yeah. And so now this week, we're going to be talking about Jesus, his call to justice. All right? We're going to be talking about Jesus calls us to do justice. All right? And so I just want to say real quick, I don't know if you know these cars. Parents, you might know this car. But in the 80s, you know, and if you've seen the movie Back to the Future, that car, it's called the DeLorean, right? The DeLorean was only manufactured for 2 years. You're probably asking me, why only 2 years, right? That's funny. But for only 2 years, people thought it was going to have a lot of power, fast. They thought it was going to have a lot of cool features. And then guess what? When the car was finally available, people jumped at it, right? They started buying stuff. People started throwing their money. Yo, I want one. You know what's funny? People started even paying more than it was actually worth. But then they quickly realized that car that they bought, that they spent all that money for, was trash, garbage, right? And it was funny because today, the DeLorean is considered to be one of the worst cars of all time ever created. After 2 years, they filed for bankruptcy, right? Crazy. But anyways, I got a quick story, right? Because I remember I was working at Burger King. I love this story, man. I was working at Burger King at the age of 29. I know it was a little late, but I was at a point in my life where God was trying to humble me. He was like, man, it was funny because I just left a group. I was singing, you know, with a group, and I was like signed to Sony. And it's funny. I was just telling my wife this. It's crazy how I experienced the low, and then God shows me a little bit to where we're making all this money per shows, and then back down, and you know what I mean? It's like, wow, what a roller coaster, right? But I remember when I went to the Valley and I was working at Burger King, I knew I was good at math. So me being good at math, I was like, man, I should be good with the registers. And I remember when they were training me, and I was like, I'm good with calculators. I use calculators all the time. I'm good. And then it was funny because lunch rush came up, and they're like, hey, you ready? And I was like, yeah, I'm ready, man. What you mean? Oh, man. And let me tell you this. I had a line of 20 people. What I will tell you, because I can't say some of the words here, I heard a lot of weird words. I heard beep, hey, beep. You know, I'm not going to say the words. I saw a whole bunch of hands flying in the air. I thought they were praising God. I didn't know what they were throwing at me, you know, with some signs. But they were angry. They were showing me fingers, right? And so I realized I was horrible, right? For the first 2 weeks, I was bad. And I don't know if you've ever experienced something where you were just really bad at something in the beginning, right? And that was me. I was horrible, right? But after 2 weeks, I was a beast. I'm talking about I could go from the front, place an order, go to the drive-thru, place an order, pay over there, go to the other side, go clean the bathroom. I could go flip burgers, make a sandwich, all in 2 minutes. Yeah, you probably wondering like, hold on, you were working by yourself? If I have to, baby. If I have to be the one-man show, I can do it. But I got good, but it was hard for me to understand that I was trash in the beginning, right? So can we all agree that, you know, that looks can be deceiving sometimes? Can we all agree, right? The DeLorean may have looked cool in the 80s, but it was one of the worst cars ever, right? And the people we might consider to be like the least impressive are sometimes the one who surprise us with their talent, right? Have you ever seen someone, the most unassuming guy, he looked like he can't play basketball, he ended up dunking on you or something, right? Crossing you over, right? That's happened, right? And then have you ever seen the people Like, you ever pick a guy, bro, this happened to me. I went to the basketball court. There was a guy who had all the armbands. He had all the Nike bands. He had the Jordan. He had the Jordan shoes. He came to the basketball court. He shot that first ball. He went all the way back here. And I was like, what? And I said, bruh, get out. Get out, man. Like, I picked you. I thought you were good, right? And so those people, yeah, you got to watch out for, but they impress us from the outside, but when you see what they are, everything that they think they are, they're not, right? And so I don't want to just go off the top of my head. I want to get into the word because this is what we're here for, right? So let's jump into the word, and then we're going to jump right into it and cover everything, and then we're going to close, all right? So you could just read the screen, but it's going to be coming from Luke 37 through 46, okay? And just read, just as I read, just follow the screen, okay? Verse 37, while Jesus was speaking, a Pharisee invited him to share a meal with him. So Jesus went and took his place at the table. When the Pharisee saw that Jesus ritually purified his hands when the Pharisee saw that Jesus didn't ritually purify his hands by washing before the meal, he was astonished. He was like, wow, you ain't gonna wash your hands, right? So the Lord said to him, now you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and platter, but your insides are stuffed with greed and wickedness. Right? So foolish people, didn't the one who made the outside also make the inside? Oh, man. Therefore, give to those in need from the care of who you are, and you will be clean all over. How terrible for you, Pharisees. You give a tenth of your mint, rue, and garden herbs of all kinds while neglecting justice and love for God. These you ought to have done without neglecting the others. How terrible for you, Pharisees. You love the most prominent seats, right? You love the most prominent seats in the synagogues and respectful greetings in the marketplaces. How terrible for you. You are like unmarked graves and people walk all over them, right? Without recognizing it. One of the legal experts responded, whoa, Jesus, yo, teacher, calm down. Teacher, when you say these things, teacher, you are insulting us. And Jesus responded, he said, how terrible for you, legal experts too. I didn't forget about y'all. I'm talking about y'all too. You load people down with impossible burdens, and you refuse to lift a single finger to help them. My God. Anyways, let's pray. Father in heaven, Lord, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for bringing us here, Lord. Lord, there's been a lot happening this week. I ain't gonna lie. And I ask that you just be with us, be with our hearts. But at this moment, it's not even about that. You said if two or more come together, you're going to shake this thing up. And so right now, Lord, shake it up, Lord. Let's make this thing happen, Lord. You know our hearts. You know what's happening. We ain't got to go through the details, sing a sad song, Lord. I just ask that you be with us. Be with your children today, Lord. They need you more than ever. And whatever I'm saying today, if it's not needed, take it out. But if it's needed, put it back in. Add it, But anyways, we love you, Lord. We praise you. In your name, just I pray in your precious name. Amen, amen, and amen. All right. Now, I have another story. Now, there are a lot of reasons, okay? Outward impressions can be deceiving, okay? But here's one, okay? Here's one. Because I want you to understand that most of the time, we're all just trying to impress each other. Like, have you ever noticed that? Like, when you walk into a thing or you wear certain shoes, you're like, oh, I hope that girl, when you're in 5th grade, you're like, I hope, so-and-so like the shoes I got, you know what I mean? But it's like, we're always trying to please somebody. Well, I'll just speak for myself. But growing up, I was a people pleaser. I came from a place like, when you grow up and you have a lot of trauma, have a lot of stuff, man, you always want to try to please other people because you think it's almost like it was an addiction to please people, right? And I remember specifically, I was a kid. I was doing everything for everybody. I was doing everything for everyone. And then one day, I remember specifically, I was going to class in the hallway. I saw a group of my friends. They were talking. They were laughing, And so I walked up. I'm like, yo, what's going on? They're like, yo, Tommy. And I'm like, yo, I'm going out there. I do my thing. I've been doing this for a while, since I was a kid. But, and I remember specifically, they were talking about a show that they watched. And now, mind you, I didn't watch TV on Saturdays, okay? And that's for another reason. Now, they were watching these all the best shows were on Saturdays, by the way. And so they were watching all these things, and then all of a sudden, I was like, yeah, I've seen that show. And I started laughing, right, with them. And then I think one of my friends, well, he's not my friend, but one of the guys around, the acquaintances, the guys I was hanging around with at the time, he kind of noticed my face a little bit, and I think he caught my bluff. And he was like, hold on, let me see if he knows what part we're talking about. And so he asked me a question, right? He asked me a question, man. He was like, yo, so what is this? He asked me some question. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, I was trying to think of everything to say, y'all. I was about to lie to these group of guys. And I know they would have caught me. And I was like, yo, something in my head was like, bro, you're caught, bro. And I was like, you know what, y'all? It was like 7 of them. I said, y'all, I didn't see the show, man. I'm tripping. I'm sorry, y'all, man. I'm sorry, guys. And they all started laughing, man. They're like, dude, you didn't have to tell us that, bro. But you know what's crazy? It's like we all want to be liked. We all want to feel important, man. Like, I know how it feels to want to feel important because I know what it feels like not to feel important. There's a quote that says, we all have a sign on our forehead that says, hey, can you like me today? We all have that sign on our forehead, right? Secretly. We may not say it, but when we don't feel liked, when we don't feel important or accepted, we sometimes act or we pretend. We send our representative. You know what that means? You send the person that you're not, right? You show off or you brag or you put others down to make them feel better, right? Now, and crazy, right? Now, do you know anyone who always follows the rules? Like, this is another question. I really want to know, do you know anyone who always follows those rules? That person that, you're trying to say, shh, don't say nothing. They raise their hand. Teacher, they're doing this. No, right? Or are you someone who always follows the rules, right? If someone tell you to do something, are you that person, right? Now, there are rules of behavior in every culture. Even your school or group of friends has even its own culture, right? Now, in Jesus' time, there were plenty of rules, both written and, of course, both unwritten, right? And this is the stuff that shaped the community of Jesus' culture, like the culture that we live in today. This is what shaped it, right? So think about your school and your group of friends right now. Now, think about it. Have you ever noticed, right? The things that are cool and acceptable is often determined by the most popular person or influential person in a school. Like, can you be honest with me? Think about it. The thing that's cool, like you always see the cool shoes or whatever, it's always by the most popular person that everybody want to do it, right? Well, not for me. I was literally the opposite guy. I was the guy who I would go find little Johnny to hang with. Why? Because little Johnny used to wear all black. Little Johnny had black nail polish. Little Johnny had black nail polish on his toes. Little Johnny used to wear black all the time. You know who I hung out with? Little Johnny. Why? Because I don't want little Johnny to go, right? Guess what? I told little Johnny, hey, whenever you come to school, you have an idea, just call me, man. Just give me a heads up. Say, hey, don't come to school today, right? Just kidding, man, because I'm not making it light because that's something that goes serious. But I was friends with those type of people, right? And it's the same is true in Jesus' day. Right? In their culture, some of the most influential people at that time was the religious people. And those religious people, they really love rules. Why? Because it made them look good. Church people, I'm about to stomp on your toes today. Woo! Right? Those religious leaders really love rules, but all for the wrong reasons, right? So these leaders were experts in the law, and they knew every religious custom inside and out. They knew what was cool and what wasn't cool, right? And if you didn't follow their rule, you weren't cool. Right? Crazy. And because they were best at following their own rules, these leaders believed themselves to be the best and the right person out of anyone. Why? Think about it. If you made up your own rules that doesn't make sense for anyone else, but you follow them, of course you're going to think you're the best. That makes no sense, right? And so that's what they were doing back in the day. So when Jesus saw something like this, he ignored their rules. Jesus was like, I ain't listening to these, right? So I want to play this out a little bit. Imagine a religious leader, right? Let's say a pastor, because I want to put it in this time. Let's say a pastor invited, Jesus at this time to eat at their house, and the word says dine. Like what that means is like they were eating in the morning or noontime meal, right? So the religious leader assumed that Jesus would show up already clean, and he would be already dressed up and have a suit on and look good, to present himself in front of the religious leader. And what's crazy? He didn't wash his hand. He came with the same thing he wore yesterday. Jesus didn't care, bruh. Jesus was like, I'm wearing the same thing I wore last week, bruh. Like, he didn't care. He has all that stuff up in the air, dog. He's like, I'm just here to hang out with y'all, just to see what's the big deal about being poor? I just want to see why y'all like this so much. I just want to see what's so cool about walking here in depression? What's so cool about walking here amongst people who act like they like you, but they really don't? So he had to really come here to relate with us, right? And then change that whole thing, right? So when Jesus doesn't comply, the religious leader wants to know why Jesus isn't following everything. Yo, why are you not following the rule? And Jesus shocks him by saying, those rules they're not really important to God, right? They're not important to God, bro. What are you telling me, right? And so Jesus wasn't even afraid to be direct. And this is why I've been studying about this pandemic, man, has been amazing because I've been studying, man, and Jesus, I look up, this man he's boss. That's the only word to say. He's gangster, man. Like, Jesus is a thug. Like, I'm telling you. This guy was not afraid to be direct. Remember last time I was talking about him flipping chairs and beating people in there, kicking them over? Hey, you know what I mean? This guy literally, right, wasn't afraid. He's not interested in being polite. He's interested in the truth. And so Jesus says a cup can be clean on the outside, but what's the point of the cup being clean on the outside when it's still dirty on the inside? I thought I was drinking the water on the inside. Right? So Jesus says you might do a lot of things, but your heart can still be full of greed and wickedness. Maybe you're thinking, it must have been an awkward dinner with Jesus. I'm sure it was awkward, right? I'm sure you're thinking, wow, Jesus was rude, right? But let me tell you something, man. The most loving thing we can do to someone is tell someone the truth, especially when we know they're harming others. Keep that in mind as we continue, right? All right? So the Pharisees knew everything. There was something like, what's cool is that they forgot God wasn't impressed by them. After they received God's love for themselves, they forgot to share with others. This is the religious people we're talking about. They forgot other people mattered. Like, right? Like, hashtag other people matter, right? They forgot God's heart for justice. So Jesus hoped they would remember the words of the past. He actually hoped that they would humble themselves, and he committed to make sure that he wanted to make sure that they committed themselves to justice instead. Why? Because Jesus' mission was to set us free. It was to rebuild what was destroyed, and he invites us to do the same thing. Woo! Right? So Jesus is sad when we commit injustice to each other. Like, you know what I mean? He's really sad, especially when we disguise ourselves as, especially when we disguise our lack of compassion in religion. Guys, I'm telling you, man, that's not what Jesus called us to do. He didn't ask us to follow him that way, right? And I'm closing, right? How do we actually do the work of justice? When you discover an injustice, right? There's only two things you can do. You can do something, or you can say something about it. What are you going to do? What are you going to say? Right? So for this week, I'm going to put something down. I want everyone to, you don't have to join if you don't want to, but look, at some point you're going to have to do action, man. Because like I always say, learning is for action and not for knowledge. If you're just learning, there's no power in learning. There's only power in action after you apply what you learn. And I hope you get that. Write that down, by the way. That was a good quote. Anyways, for this week, and I'm doing it as well, my wife's doing it. She's actually, man, we're going to drink water for the rest of the week. How about that? And I was thinking of something, what could I come up with, or what's something that we can do as OBC youth? What's something that we can always all do together and be like, you know what? For this week, let's all drink water. Cut out the sweets, cut out the coffee, cut out all the other things that you buy, right? Why? Give it to someone so they can actually help with water. You know, here's what's crazy. You can do that, right? And then if someone asks you, why are you drinking water? Or why are you drinking everything but water? You can say something like this: I drink water to recognize the many people that don't have it. Come on, man. People always gonna question you what you're doing, but you can literally say that. Yo, I'm drinking water because there's a kid in Cambodia right now that's drinking dirt water. Like, I'm telling you, there's kids in Haiti where my family's from. She tell me this all the time. It's like they got to wait for the water to settle after someone kicks the dirt so that they could drink that water. That's crazy. Man, that's crazy, man. How are we the first country to be independent? Anyways, that's another topic. So sometimes it's difficult to know where to begin on your justice journey. So there are a lot of problems right now. Most of them could feel bigger than you and me, but God didn't tell us to quit when we encounter something, when we encounter big problems, man. Because for every new level, there's a new devil. Like, if you think you're trying to get to the next level, you don't think there's gonna be a boss. For all those gamers out there, and I'm just gonna close out with this. I know there's some people that play a game. If you play Fortnite, you play Mario, whatever you play. Like, I remember specifically, I was listening to this guy. He said, have you ever played a game and you felt like you were lost? And I was like, yeah, I remember I was playing for a game and I was lost for like an hour. I didn't know where everything is. And as I was walking, I felt tuk, 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 tuk. Someone started shooting me and I got upset. And then I didn't know what was happening. But then 5 years, 6 years later, when he said the story, he said, whenever you see an enemy, so let's say if you're lost in a game, but the day or the moment you see an enemy, that means you're going the right way. Woo! That means you're going the right way. And so I'm telling you guys, even when it gets harder, that's not the time you quit. That's the time you speed up. That's the time you speed up. Put your big girl undies, whatever you got to do, big boy underwears, do what you got to do, y'all. We have to get into the game. Stop being spectators, man. We got to stop looking outside like we paid the ticket and it's like we even paid for the ticket. We came to the game for free and then we're trying to win the championship ring too. That doesn't work. You only get the ring when you play the game. So Jesus and the prophets, they speak to us from the past, inviting to join God in changing the future, right? So there's so much that could be done. There's a lot that could be done, but guys, it's going to be up to you. And so I just want to close out with a prayer because I want to leave y'all with some power, with just some motivation to get your job done, to get it